During the days of liberation struggle and after the liberation struggle, South Sudan got in her independence. Those days, South Sudanese were united. Today, you wonder what exactly is happening. People are no longer like they used to be. And this is a very great challenge to both the state leadership and the national leadership. In today's forum of the Roundtable Show, we are joined by Honorable James Kok, who will be telling us about the new development in his state, and we'll be looking on issues to do with national leadership, what is happening to the people of South Sudan. Honorable, welcome to Roundtable Show.
Thank you, Gori.
To start with, Governor, let's get to know what is the political and then security situation basically in your state. How do you describe it in Fangaki State?
First of all, before I come to your question, let me take this opportunity to convey my condolence to the family of SSBC for the passing of your mother, and that is for the entire people of South Sudan. My personal condolence. Even though I went personally to console you, but I think as I'm now talking to Gori Anthony and his colleague, I want to say my condolences to the family of SSBC. Coming to your question, the security situation of Fangaki State. Security situation of Fangaki State at the moment is normal. And you are aware that Fangaki State, the bigger territory of Fangaki State was occupied and were controlled by the IO. The government was only in Ayo town. And that was before I started moving to Dukpadiet County to dialogue with the community of my state. So Fangaki State were fully under the control of the IO with the exception of Ayo town. However, at the moment, there is a big and great change after the dialogue. So the government is controlling the main administrative areas of the 3 counties of Greater Ayo. Fangaki County, which is Jazeera, is still under the IO. And we only know their condition through telephone or Suraya. But the greater counties of Ayo is fully under the control of the government, with the exception of villages which turn to be relief centers. And these are where you will get some IO forces. And those areas are Jej, Gorwai, Pagil, and a place called Y. But the towns that were known and which are in the map are controlled by the government. And that is Kwaikdeng, which is the capital of Ayo South County, and then Ayo town itself. And then you go to Wau, which is the capital of Ayo Santa County, and then Mogok, which is Ayo North County. And these are the known town that we have. And these are the areas now are controlled by the government. And at the moment, the situation is normal.
Hey, Honorable Governor, the situation is quite normal, as you have said. I believe your government is operational as we speak now. You're having your cabinet and it is operational. Let's talk in terms of service delivery to people of Fangaki State. Every citizen, after the declaration of 20, then 80 states and now 32 states, the hope of the citizens was that they receive services from their government. And this is the main objective of the SPLM of taking towns to people. Let's get to know, is your government doing enough to people of Fangaki State?
I wouldn't say that my government is doing anything, because you know very well, Gori, what is the state affairs of the Republic of South Sudan. The challenges that we are having at the national level affect also the state. So we have difficulties of getting what to deliver. However, the people are there, but we have nothing to deliver because the war have destroyed the school, and we have no building to let the children go into.
Yes.
There are no hospital or dispensaries.
Yes.
So if those things are not there, these are basically the most basic need you could talk about, apart from the food security. But with the current economic challenge, I would tell you, yes, the plan are there, the program are there, but you have nothing to deliver because of what you know.
Honorable Governor, this now drives me to the issue of the dialogue, as you've mentioned. While on your way back to the state, you said you happened to hold some dialogue with the community of your state, that is Fangaki State. Let's talk about the dialogue or the national dialogue, which was now declared by the president. Are you optimistic that this is the possible way for South Sudan to realize lasting peace, so that all these services that you're saying you're about to deliver and it seems to be hard because of the challenges the country is going through? Could the dialogue be a possible way of resolving all the problems South Sudan is going through?
First of all, let me take this opportunity to congratulate His Excellency the President for having declared the national dialogue. First of all, before even asking me whether it is possible or not to resolve all this conflict through the dialogue, in the first place, why do we call for dialogue? And whom are we calling to dialogue? And with whom are we dialoguing with? And why are we calling for dialogue? What are the problems? From my experience and from my training, is that when you call for dialogue, there are fundamental issues that drive you to call for dialogue. What are those? One, the person that called for dialogue must have recognized that there are issues that need people to talk about. And if you realize that there are issues that need people to talk about, then you are part of those issues. And you must have also somebody who have also those issues somewhere that you need to dialogue with. So the dialogue cannot be just declared for the sake of calling for dialogue. To me, when you come to conflict resolution, calling for dialogue. Dialogue, the word called dialogue, is a relative word. Dialogue is for people to talk. If you want to take a simple definition of what is dialogue. But it is not one side. There must be several. And there must be issues for people to talk about. But the person who called for dialogue must have recognized that there are problems that need people to talk about. And this is exactly what the president have done. We all know and we are all aware that our country is at war. And many of our brothers and sisters are not in South Sudan. Yes. Some of them are citizens who are forced by the condition and they went to neighboring countries. Yes. Some are political leaders. Some are military leaders. Then there must be something wrong. Yes. So in recognizing that something is wrong, the only way for people to come together is to call for people to come and talk. And this is what the president have done. And that is why I'm congratulating him. Now, I'm one of the people who like dialogue. And who have also done dialogue. Not just recently. I have been doing this even during the liberation time. And I can cite it, some of this. It was me who reconciled Dr. John and Dr. Riek Machar. It was through the dialogue, it was no negotiation. Also with Dr. Lama Call, it was through the dialogue, not negotiation, because there were no conditions. So there were fundamental issues that make you to call for people so that you come and talk. And those fundamental issues are common things that if we don't talk about them, we will all face the consequences. This is exactly what is happening in our country.
Viewers of SSBC will be going for a short break and pick up from there. Please stay tuned and we'll be coming back from this short break.
Table Show is a platform where we discuss topical issues that affect the nation. We tackle many issues including economics, politics, peace and reconciliation, development, humanitarian support, education, among others.
Hello viewers of SSBC, welcome back from that short break. You're still watching the Roundtable Show and we're joined by Honorable Governor of Fangaki State, James Kok, who is explaining to us what is the way forward for South Sudan to realize lasting peace. Honorable Governor, from your experience of having, tried to be in the center of uniting different group of people, our leaders, those days during the liberation struggle, until today, there is a scenario, Honorable Governor, that the national dialogue or dialogue sometimes tend to be resolving issues of power struggle. Let's know what will the dialogue mean to the ordinary people of South Sudan, people who have been faced by the famine, people whom their children cannot go to school because of violence, people who have fled to the bush and have no access to the medical treatment. What will this dialogue really mean to them?
As I said before, that I left here on the 20th of December.
Yes.
After the president have declared the national dialogue.
Yes.
And for me, that was a very great and very good framework for me to start approaching my people.
Yes.
Gora, it is true. People have differed in Juba. but the issues people differed over are not known
Okay.
very much by the people on the ground, especially the ordinary citizen.
Yes.
And this is the challenge I took. I went from here by road
Yes.
with the hope and with the determination that I'm going to convince my people, and I will open a road that has been closed for the last 4 years.
Okay.
And indeed, this is what I have done. And do you know, Gori, I was using typical traditional conflict approach.
Okay.
I was not there talking as a governor. I was talking as a son of that place who have never committed any mistake. And I have no record. I have no bad record from my community.
Okay.
And my message was simple. Why are you fighting? Why are you preventing services to come to you? And which war are you fighting? And fighting with who? We are fighting with Dinkas. Who told you that it is a war between Dinka and the Nuyas? They will tell me, no, this is the message we got from those of Riek Machar. I say, no, this is the wrong message. The fighting is for the elite, those who need leadership.
Yes.
Do you need leadership in Juba? They will say no. Then why are you preventing services to come to you? Please, what I want from you, I will not come with the force. I want you to open the road so that we can serve you. I want the white army to separate themselves from the real IO, because there is no reason for you to die.
Honorable Governor, after all this, I believe you have succeeded. That's why you managed to convince these people. Now let's talk about what is happening now in South Sudan. Issues to do with intertribal and intercommunal or interstate conflict that is happening now rampant. Everywhere you hear something happen here, something happen here. This community is fighting, this community, this is fighting this. What could be the best way of bringing our people together?
You know, Gori, let me be honest. And be honest.
Yes.
Because we are all South Sudanese. Any post-conflict situation is likely such thing to happen.
Okay.
And especially when you do not take immediate or first precautionary measures about security, and especially those who are carrying guns. One mistake we have committed, or we in the leadership we have committed, is that we have left all our civil population to carry arms. And guns have a law
Okay.
in anywhere in the world. Anybody who have a gun and who does not know the meaning and the rule of the use of gun, then likely such situation would happen. This is exactly what is really happening. Not because there are real issues that make them to fight.
Okay.
There were those fighting before we acquire guns.
Yes.
When we were fighting with the traditional weapons, people used to fight. But the killing, the displacement, the destruction are not like now because of the AKM. And just this is the mistake that we have done, that the government of Southern Sudan by then
Okay.
did not put it priority to look into security issues.
Okay.
This is one we have to acknowledge. On the top of this, any people who are coming from war, when they are not engaged commercially, and when they are not engaged educationally, and where they are not engaged on others' business like agriculture, what would you do? Is to fall back into such criminals' duties and act
Okay.
by thinking, because there is say, an idle mind is a double workshop.
Yes.
An idle youth would think of creating things that are not accepted by community. This is what is happening. Those fighting, intercommunal fighting, are not politically motivated.
Okay.
This is one thing. You have asked me, what is happening in South Sudan? And what is the way forward to resolve this?
Yes.
I would also take you back. These are also post-conflict situation. We were under the regimes of successive government of Khartoum. But then when we were succeeding, there are certain measures that we have not taken into account. And I accept as a part of the leadership.
Yes.
Number one, if we are going to succeed to be a state, what is the priority of the state? There are certain things that we would have denounced
Yes.
on the 9th of July, but we didn't. For instance, tribalism, corruption. Okay? These are things that would have been denounced and to have been put in what I call proclamation of independence. That letter
Yes.
that was read by James Waniga would have contained those principles. I call them principle and guidance.
Okay.
Tribalism would have been denounced and it would have been like a taboo. You practice it, you face the law.
Yes.
We did not do it. We would have said, for instance, South Sudan is a very likely country. We would have said, we are grateful to our Almighty Father who endowed South Sudan with enormous resources.
Yes.
But these enormous resources are only for public use.
Okay.
Anybody, individual, group, family, who have found to be practicing embezzlement, stealing, or corruption must face the law.
Yes.
These things we did not do them. And maybe we were maybe our mind was so much occupied by the stress of Khartoum. We did not think of this. And that is why many of our leaders did not even know the content of nationalism.
Honorable Governor, you just made it right. As we are concluding, finally, what's your message to people of South Sudan as we're concluding? Within some seconds, as we're concluding, what final message do you send to people of South Sudan?
My final message to people of South Sudan, and I would say it, my people of South Sudan,
Yes.
I love South Sudan.
Okay.
And I love people of South Sudan. People who are brilliant,
Okay.
talented people, people who are blessed, who are also mentioned in the Bible.
Okay.
Is that please return to yourself and ask yourself, who are you? If you believe you are South Sudanese, whatever you are thinking of now is secondary.
Okay.
Can you really deal with the issues of South Sudan to bring peace
Okay.
by upholding what our president have declared? The only means to bring about lasting peace in this country is for people to talk,
Okay.
not for people to fight. The dialogue will lead to reconciliation. Reconciliation will lead to peace. Peace will lead to stability.
Okay.
Stability will lead to development and prosperity. If you love South Sudan, please join us. Whether you are outside or you are inside, the only best way is not to fight Salva Kiir or James Kok. It's to talk to James Kok. What are the issues? Do you have some grievances? I accept. Let us put them on the table and let's talk about it. Not to kill ourselves.
Yes.
The world of today is a world of people to talk. You talk with people in America through WhatsApp, and they got what you are saying.
Yes.
It should not be people who are in one place. Come to South Sudan, let's dialogue, put the issues on the table, including the issue of leadership. Why are you fearing? We are South Sudanese, we belong to South Sudan, and South Sudan belongs to us.
We are South Sudanese, we belong to South Sudan, and South Sudan belongs to all of us. Let's talk, let's bring all our grievances together, and we sit like this in a round table, and this will bring lasting peace in South Sudan. With that, viewers of SSBC and those who are watching Round Table Show, we have come to the end of this show. It has been a pleasure, Honorable, having you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice having you.
Thank you.